And we are back. And we just finished watching 2016's Colossal, rated R, with a runtime of 1 hour and 49 minutes. This is from writer-director Nacho Vigalondo and stars Anne Hathaway as Gloria, a kind of down-and-out party girl who her boyfriend Dan Stevens tells her she's got to skedaddle and get her life together. So she winds up going back to her old, I guess, home.
Her childhood home.
And is trying to sort her life out. She runs into her childhood friend, Oscar, played by Jason Sudeikis.
Sudeikis?
Is that how you say his last name?
I think it's Sudeikis.
He's a crazy person.
He was so crazy in this.
Also known as Ted Lasso.
It's also known as Ted Lasso, right? And this is quite the departure from Ted Lasso.
Good Lord.
Okay, so this was Olive G's pick. Excellent, by the way. And we had just I had just watched Time Crimes for film discussion group, so this was in my queue to watch, and what a delight.
Yeah.
From start to finish. This movie took several turns that I did not see coming, but still, from start to finish, a really good story, really interesting, solid performances, decent special effects. I mean, nothing crazy, but it
didn't look bad.
No, it didn't look bad. It's definitely more polished than Time Crimes. That's for damn sure. Just, a treat. I didn't expect to like this as much as I did.
Yeah, me neither. And you kind of get a little bit, I guess, fooled because if you ever see like trailers for this, it's just...
It looks like a wacky
It's almost
comedy.
like it's goofy. Yeah. But it's so much deeper and there's a lot more going on in this. I mean, it's talking about like alcoholism and people whose lives are just screwed up and controlling people, jealousy and just how
deep-seated anger,
tragedies far away. It's just like, it's like statistics. There's a lot. There's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. Anne Hathaway was brilliant.
Anne Hathaway was really she was really good in that. Like, you hate her, or she is very.
She's not likable in the beginning. Yeah. At all.
She's just a wreck, and you could see why Dan Stevens is like, all right, I've had enough. You got
to get out of here. Yeah, and rightly so.
Even her friends, like in the beginning, come inside uninvited. Like, they didn't even knock. They just came in.
Right.
Yeah, they're waiting outside for Dan Stevens to leave so they could just wreck his apartment and drink all his booze.
And just be, I don't know, jackasses.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the story, I don't know if we want to give too much away. I mean, it's 2016, so it's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about it.
I feel like this
8 years ago. I think the statute of limitations on spoilers is off on that one.
It's 6.
Oh, 16. Yeah. 2006. Oh, sorry. I thought you said 2014.
No, 2016.
Okay. Even still.
No, still. 6 years. 6 years is quite a bit of time. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. The trailer is very deceiving. I thought this was going to be, I think, the thing that we discussed about how she goes back to her hometown to get a fresh start and kind of forms a life there with the boy who...
Yeah,
always thought of her, but maybe not. I mean, it's funny because you get the impression that he's maybe has a secret crush on her, but maybe that's not it. And she even addresses it. It wasn't like he loved her or wanted to control her. He was just an angry person.
Yeah, he was basically jealous of her for what she had done, even though what she had done really wasn't that great in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
I mean, yeah, she did leave that town,
right,
and she became sort of a writer.
Mm-hmm.
But her life was a train wreck.
Right.
And honestly, his life was a train wreck too.
Yeah, when you get inside his house,
the only difference between them is he just never left the town.
Right. But there was this sort of sinister control, right?
He loved the fact that
he could lord that over her.
I'm guessing maybe it stemmed from the fact that for so long he thought that she was better than him because she was able to get away. And now that she's back, it's like, no, I'm the one with the power. Mm-hmm. And that power, and you see how that power just
corrupted
makes him
go
nuts.
Yeah.
Good job by Jason Sudeikis, too. I mean,
holy cow.
He is that lovable Ted Lasso guy.
But he's not in this.
In the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like that one evening happens, and it's just like, wait, what?
What? Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. I think it's also interesting how, I mean, not to get preachy or anything, but listen, addiction is terrible. It's a hard cycle to break. But obviously the message here is also to be leery of that, right? Because the Gloria character made a lot of bad decisions.
Yeah.
When alcohol was involved. And then when you see the Oscar character sort of go down that downward spiral, it's because he's more fueled by alcohol and making just one bad decision after another.
Oh, yeah. I mean, alcohol was a huge crutch for him. You get this peaks of his life when you finally see what his house looks like.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and he apparently was lying about the fact that he almost got married because there's pictures of a wife and a child that are no longer in the picture, and the wife's head is like scratched out of the pictures.
Or was he lying? I mean, he could have been truthful about that. I'm not really sure. But obviously, he was in a relationship that didn't.
He said, I almost got married 6 years ago.
6 years ago, yeah.
But didn't he say that she had a baby?
Right. There was a little kid in that picture. I don't know that it was his little kid, though.
Oh, he said the person that he was with
had a child.
Oh, I missed that part. I just thought he said that he almost got married. I didn't know that he said that.
No. He said that her and her kid.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So
I missed that part.
Although he could have lied about that. That could have been his kid. It could have been she just got really freaked out by him because he looked like he could go to some dark places.
Yeah.
Although in the beginning, he didn't seem so reliant on drinking.
You know what? It probably was always there because, let's be honest, that first night when they're just hanging out, did you see that table? And
yeah, it's full of bottles.
The whole table was covered with beer bottles.
Yeah. That's true.
Granted, there were 4 of them, but still, that was a lot of beer consumed.
Yeah. And what else can you do in a small town?
There is that as well.
Right. I'm going to go around the table and get impressions. Olive G, this was your movie. Excellent, by the way. What made you want to see this?
Like right after we saw the trailer, I got really excited about it.
Yeah.
Did it live up to your expectations?
Kind of. I mean, there's those crazy twists.
Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't did you think it was just going to be a funny comedy type movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. The trailer is very deceiving. But it was still good, right, Olive G?
Yep.
Did you have a favorite character? Gloria?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
I like how she turned it around.
I do appreciate her turning it around and going on that hero's journey and getting on that arc. Did you have a favorite scene in this?
Probably when she just threw him like a million miles away.
Yeah.
It wasn't as surviving from that ever.
It wasn't as satisfying as Joffrey Baratheon being murdered.
Well, that was unsatisfying too because he wasn't murdered
in a painful way.
Brutal enough way.
Yeah, that's true too. But still, the universe.
Yes, the universe received some balance that
day. Yeah. What about you, Gigi? What did you think of the film?
I liked it.
Yeah, what'd you like about it?
Oh, it was interesting.
I
didn't expect any of it.
Did you have a favorite scene?
Probably when she kills him too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the trailer, or was this like your first experience with the whole thing? Okay. So you didn't.
I thought we all saw the trailer together on Hulu, but then they got rid of it.
Yes, it was originally on Hulu and it was in our saved, and then when we went to go see it, it was already gone.
It's gone. Yeah. It was on HBO Max.
I probably forgot about it.
Yeah, it's on HBO Max, everybody. But yeah, the trailer is not anything indicative of what this. It really takes some turns. It really takes some turns.
I mean, you could see how there is like that absurdity that would lead you to believe that this is just some sort of zany comedy. I mean, the trailer gives it away, but basically the premise of the movie is, for some reason, out of nowhere in South Korea, a giant monster appears that just starts walking through the city. And the
Gloria character,
Gloria eventually discovers, after seeing footage of the creature, that it is actually mimicking the stuff that she had done the day before when she was inside this small children's park. And then she realizes that basically
at a certain time.
Yeah, it has always a certain time of day, 8:05 to like 8:10. It's a small amount of time, a little window of time. But if she is in that park at that particular point in time, the monster appears in South Korea and does exactly what she does. So the first time she's carrying a big parcel, and you see the monster going through the city, and he looks like he's carrying something. The second time, she's talking on her phone, and it looks like the monster is talking on a phone. And she
also picks up that little nervous tick that she does, where she kind of feels
she's always scratching the top of her head.
Yeah, and then as the story progresses, you also come to realize that there is an event sort of in their childhood, in Gloria and Oscar's, that sort of triggers this phenomenon.
Yeah, this fantastical event, this weird lightning storm.
Right. And they're both hit with lightning at that point. And at that point, millions of miles away in Korea, the two little toys that they each had in their backpack appear.
Yes, they become.
So that's...
Well, I think she only appears.
Was it only her? Maybe it was only her.
25 years ago, it was only her that appeared.
Yeah, at the beginning.
Okay. I thought it was both of them. Okay.
They saw Gloria's monster.
And it's funny because as you watch the story at the beginning, it did feel like Oscar had like a huge crush on her.
I thought that too.
That it was always
mad
like
at that guy for kissing her. I was like, oh.
Yeah, and it was like unrequited, and that he still had these feelings for her. But then when you see the scene when he's a child and how spiteful he is.
Yeah. I think it was mainly about being better than her.
Yeah.
Because that's what he was doing. He was destroying her diorama. Mm-hmm. You know?
Which looks
so that she couldn't excel. Remember? And he also brought up, and it was almost like,
yeah, I was a writer, but she was better than me.
Right. He was very resentful, right? He was like, well, obviously she was better than me because she won this thing every year. And she was like, oh, that was like, she didn't even realize what, like, it was like this unspoken rivalry, I guess. That was all in his head, obviously.
One-sided rivalry.
Yeah.
Because she was completely
oblivious.
Of it.
Yeah. What did you think of what did you think of Gloria's boyfriend?
I didn't like him.
No? Why?
He was judgy. He sent her away when he could have been helping her.
True. You said something interesting about the Dan Stevens character.
That he didn't like her, being a waitress because, he needed her independency or something.
Her codependency.
Yeah, he needed to be
her knight in shining armor.
Exactly, and that was I think that was the thing that basically I think he regretted kicking her out because once she was gone, he didn't have that anymore.
Right,
and that's
he didn't have somebody to wag his finger at.
Right. I mean, there you could see. I guess there was hints that he would always try and help her while they were together, but she would always
screw it up to the point where he was like, "Oh, I'm fed up. You're gone. I want you to leave and don't come back until you've sorted your mess out." But one day he follows through.
But then when she's not coming back to him for help, oh, you're not answering your emails. You're not.
Right.
You know, he actually goes out there,
right?
And yeah, that was a sign of codependency. He needed that. He needed the wounded or broken thing to fix.
Right.
Even though, oh God, you're such a burden upon me.
Right.
But here, I'll help you.
Right.
You know, that's certain people are like that.
Sure.
They need to be suffering while helping another person.
And she has a really good
character
arc.
Yes.
Because she is a complete colossal wreck at the beginning of this film.
And it's that's the thing that's nice about this movie is that it's not like, oh,
no, it doesn't happen overnight.
I'm selfless and whatnot. I remember we were talking about that Unpregnant movie and the character arc of the
Veronica,
the A-type girl,
Veronica,
the one who was actually pregnant. It was just okay, and then right at the end, suddenly she just changes her colors and sees the truth or whatever. This was a good, strong
gradual
build up, gradual. She was still screwing up in the beginning. It started turning around. You see how this affected her when the monster is revealed. Even then, she is like still not, I don't think she really took it maybe 100% seriously until the day that she actually started showing, the day she showed the other guys that this is something that she could do. And I think at that point it really starts to sink in, because I think at that point she actually says, I haven't had a drink since then.
Right.
Because she's realizing that my reckless, stupid behavior is killing thousands of people.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that you don't get when you see the comedy trailer. You just think, oh, it's a wacky thing. The monster's dancing in the city. And you don't realize that to get to that point where she's not killing people as the monster, already thousands of people have died. And it's not like as though it's on a movie. This is in their world, this is real. This is reality.
Right, right.
And I think maybe Sudeikis' character, Oscar, he didn't care. To him, they were still just little numbers.
Right, right, right. It wasn't anybody of importance to him.
Right. But I think he loved the fact that he could have that power.
Right.
I think he even says something to that effect.
But the other thing was like Garth and
the other two characters,
Joel.
They were just sitting on their butts doing nothing.
They
shouldn't
were.
intervene.
That actually bothered me a little bit.
Yeah,
that they were willing to sit by
and just let Oscar be a villain.
Yeah. Especially,
and no one really.
The guy,
Joel.
The younger guy.
Yeah.
Garth actually walked out, but Joel was sticking.
Right. And Garth was like gonna fight with him, but ultimately doesn't. But at the same time, yeah, like Joel was an enabler because he got into the truck with him.
Well, I think Oscar had his own little setup in this town. Oscar was a guy who wanted control, and he had control over those two guys. Those guys were his subordinates.
Puppets.
He ruled over those two guys. And I think one of the things that really set him off was
when Gloria and Joel
hook up, because that was not something that he allowed or gave permission to.
Right, right.
I don't think, like, you probably think, oh, it's just jealousy.
Right.
He wants Gloria for himself. I don't think it's about that. I think he wants dominance over those people. Right.
Well, she mentions that ultimately when they have that kind of conversation in her home, when he's in her house and she like freaks out, right?
Yeah.
That was terrifying, because I think that is like when it started taking that turn, because it's like, oh, this isn't lighthearted anymore. This is going down a very, very dark, narrow path. Yeah, it's a huge departure for Mr. Lasso.
Yeah, this is really good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this film a lot.
I did too. The writing was sharp. The performances were fantastic. Not crazy special effects, but still.
Special effects that were there were good.
Yeah, it wasn't anything crazy, but
it wasn't Pacific Rim.
No, it wasn't Pacific Rim, but it was still really well done. Really well done. And the little, sort of like the little subtleties and nuances, like when you see the toys in the packs and stuff like that, like all that really just tied itself really, really nicely. And I do appreciate Gloria's story arc. I think from where she starts to where she ends up is also just very good. Really chef's kiss. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's nice that it's this woman, right, who understands that she has problems, understands that she's human, understand that she makes mistakes, but is willing to do the work to fix it.
Well, I think she needed a shock to make her willing to do it.
Right. And the shock is the murder of those people, I guess.
To realize that her actions have consequences. When it was just like, oh, big deal, I stayed out all night. My boyfriend was worried about me. That's not high enough stakes.
True.
When your actions literally kill thousands of people,
right?
And it's not like it wasn't like malicious or
anything
like that. It was just she was just going through her life. This stuff happened, and once she actually realized she had this power, she actually still went back and did it again.
Right?
And she was trying to be super careful, but she was still drunk and fell over, and tragedy happened.
Damage. Yeah. Question for you. I'm going to ask everybody. Question for you, Olive G. In parts of the movie, when Oscar tells Gloria, oh, you said this last night. Do you believe Oscar?
Not really.
What about you, Gigi? There's several parts, especially in the beginning, where things happen and Gloria's really unclear. And Oscar says, oh, we had this conversation. Don't you remember? Like coming to work for him and that she wanted a TV and that he's going to give her furniture. Yeah. Do you think Oscar was being truthful?
Was he gaslighting her?
He might have been gaslighting her.
What do you think?
I think maybe the first time it may have been real, but I think after that it was just like, oh, she's really got a problem.
Right.
Like once he realized that she would get like blackout drunk, I think he realized, oh my God,
I could take advantage.
I have power in this situation.
Right.
I'm going to have her around me all the time. You asked me for a job, remember?
Right. When she comes back to the apartment after the time, I guess he hit her or threw her down on the floor, and then or not her apartment, her house, and she sees all the furniture. Was he really contrite, you believe, or was this another way of him controlling her by giving her furniture? I'm tying her to this place because I want her here.
I think it was the second one.
Because that was also the whole scene with Tim when he comes to visit and the big firecracker, right?
Well, that happened right after that.
The furniture
arrived, and then the fire. Because basically, it was like,
right.
He's like, I'm going to smooth this out, make everything in, so she'll stay and whatever. And then she shows up with the ex-boyfriend, and once he sees that, it's just like, okay, so that clearly didn't work. I'm going to have to make things 100% clear.
Well, that's when he shows up at her house. But he gave her the furniture after he pushed her on the floor.
No. In the bar with the firecracker. Happened right after the furniture was delivered.
Right, because the furniture was a token of contriteness because he pushed her.
In the bar with the firecracker was him realizing the token of contriteness didn't work. Now I have to make it clear why she won't go with this guy. And then after that, he shows up at
her house. Right. Yes. And that's when she says, I thought that it was because you wanted this, but it's because you're angry. So she figured that out. So she's not dumb.
No, she's a smart person, but she's just
makes bad choices. Right. I'm going to go around the table and get numbers. Olive G, once again, excellent choice. 1 to 10. What are we going to give this film?
Probably 8. No,
8.
7.5.
7.5? What about you, Gigi?
Yeah, I was also going to say 7.5.
I'm going to give this an 8.5. I thought from where it starts to where it ends, really good storytelling. Really, really good storytelling. Strong performances. Shout out to Anne Hathaway as Gloria. Shout out to Jason Sudeikis as Oscar. Really, I love when people go against the grain, and he's obviously big teddy bear Ted Lasso lately, but so it was nice to see him do something darker. Yeah, and he did it really, really well, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't think he had it in him, but
it's always especially creepy when the golly nice guy is just turns the page and it's just like, what? I you know what? I'll also give this an 8.5. I like this a lot.
Yeah, really, really good. I mean,
did not expect to like this as much as I did.
Yeah, same.
I'm glad it wasn't just some goofy comedy.
Agreed. I like that it took all those turns. It was funny watching it because it was like, okay, now it's this type of movie. Okay, no, wait, it's this type of movie. And then at the end, it's like, what? And Ted being bad. Just, wow. Really good. I'd like to see more of that. I mean, I love him as Ted Lasso, but I would like to see him as dark guy. All right, so 7.5, 7.5, 8.5, 8.5. If you haven't seen it, go check out 2016's Colossal, currently streaming on HBO Max. You will not regret it. Excellent storytelling. And that's it from us, and we will bid you all a good night.
Good night.
Night.